I never imagined that a quiet Sunday dinner with my family, something that used to feel sacred, would end with a scene so humiliating, so ridiculous, so downright insulting that I still feel it burning under my skin. But here we are. My son, Adam, had been trying to blend the family for months. Ever since he got married to his wife, Tara, things had shifted. He'd stopped coming around as much, stopped calling as often, and somehow, without anyone announcing it outright, my presence seemed to awkwardly hover at the edges of every family gathering. But this dinner? This was supposed to be their attempt at smoothing things over. A nice meal at a restaurant they really loved. One Tara insisted was way more upscale than anything you're used to. That should have been the first red flag. But I bit my tongue. For Adam, I always did. The place was called the Redwood Terrace, a polished, modern restaurant near downtown Austin. Wood panels, warm lighting, servers with perfect posture. The kind of place people choose when they want to impress someone, or at least pretend they belong in a different tax bracket. Which was ironic, because the only person at that table who did belong in a different tax bracket was me. Not that Tara knew that. Not that I ever told her. Adam knew I'd done well for myself. Property investments, restaurants, a small chain of boutique stores, but he also knew I didn't flaunt it. I grew up poor. I stayed humble. I wore old jeans and flannel. If you judged me by appearances, you'd get it wrong every time. And Tara? She judged every book by its cover. I arrived 10 minutes early because that's who I am, the man who never wants to inconvenience anyone. I stood near the host stand, hands in my pockets, letting people pass. Families, couples, business types. Someone even bumped into me without looking back. I didn't mind. The young host lifted his head and gave me a polite smile. "Sir, are you waiting for someone?" "Yes," I said. "Reservation under Barnes. My son made it." He typed something into the computer, nodded and said, "They're not here yet, but we'll seat you as soon as everyone arrives." "Perfect. I'll wait." Adam and Tara showed up 15 minutes later. Adam looked tired, like he'd been arguing in the car. Tara strutted behind him like the Queen of England. "Dad?" Adam said warmly, pulling me into a hug. "Sorry we're late." "No worries," I said, smiling. "I've been enjoying the view." Tara gave me a half-hearted nod. Not a greeting. More like recognition that a human figure was standing in her radius. "We should hurry," she said to Adam. I told them to seat us right away. I followed them to the host stand, but even before we reached it, Tara abruptly stopped, turned around and put her hand in the air, right in my face. "Actually, can you just wait here for a second?" I blinked. "Why?" "We'll check the table situation," she said. "They might not let us change the seating if you're standing there." "Change the seating? What?" But Adam looked at me apologetically and mouthed, "Just go with it." So I did. From where I stood, I watched the host gesture toward a table. A big one, clearly meant for a party of 6. I recognized the layout. I recognized the furniture. I recognized the manager walking by, greeting customers warmly. Because this was my restaurant. The first successful location in the chain I'd built from nothing. But I didn't say anything. I liked watching people behave when they thought you had no power. The host began to guide them to the table. Tara suddenly glanced back at me and frowned. "Actually, hold on," she said to the host. "Can we get a different table? Something more private? Preferably far from undesirables." "Undesirables." She said it loud enough that another guest turned around. The host looked confused. "Ma'am, this was the reserved table. We're very full tonight." "Well," she said sharply, "we're not sitting in the middle like some bargain bin walk-ins." My jaw tightened. Adam's shoulders tensed. "Tara," he whispered, "can we not do this?" She ignored him. I swallowed everything I wanted to say. Because blowing up right then would have made things worse for Adam. And because something inside me whispered, let her keep digging. Eventually, we were seated at the original table and things were awkward right from the start. I sat across from Tara, who held her purse like the table was contaminated. Adam sat beside me, trying desperately to make small talk. "Dad, did you get the car fixed?" How's work going? Did you see the Cowboys game? But Tara rolled her eyes at everything. Finally, she snapped, Can we order already?
I'm starving.
When the waiter arrived, a kid named Liam who'd worked for me for over a year, he gave me a respectful nod. Good evening, sir. Tara's eyebrows shot up. He said that to you? I smiled politely. Just good customer service.
Tara snorted.
Sure. She ordered the most expensive thing on the menu. Adam asked for something simple. When it was my turn, I asked for the trout, which was one of the cheapest entrees.
Tara laughed.
Actually laughed. Why would you order that? She said. You know, sometimes you should treat yourself to something nice. I like the trout, I said evenly. Or, she said slowly, eyes narrowing. Are you ordering cheap because you can't afford anything else? Adam kicked her under the table, hard enough that she yelped. What is wrong with you? He hissed. What? She protested. I'm just saying he doesn't have to pretend. Stop. Adam rarely used that voice, but she did stop. For a while. Sort of. The food arrived. Plates steaming. Wine poured. Bread basket replenished twice. But tension hung over the table like smog. I tried making conversation. I tried keeping the peace. I tried ignoring Tara's continuous sighs and eye rolls. But then she picked a new target. So, she said, swirling her wine, Adam told me you're semi-retired? Pretty much, I said, taking a bite of trout, trying to enjoy life at a slower pace. And what does slower pace mean exactly? She pressed. Like, handyman stuff? Part-time work? Delivering packages? Yard help?
Adam groaned softly.
He knew exactly what she was doing. I manage a few business interests, I said carefully. Tara nodded slowly, like she was observing an animal in a zoo. Business interests, she repeated mockingly. Okay. Goo. I set my fork down. Is something bothering you, Tara? Her eyes sharpened. Honestly? Yes. She leaned forward, lowering her voice, but not enough that surrounding tables couldn't hear. I think it's rude that you came here dressed like that. I glanced down at myself. Clean denim, pressed flannel, boots, a jacket. Like what? I asked calmly. Like a man who wandered in from a gas station, she said, gesturing at my clothes. This is an upscale place. You stick out. I opened my mouth to respond, but she cut me off. And then there's the bill, she said. This place is expensive. Really expensive. And I just don't want Adam feeling guilty later if you can't pay your part. My heart pounded. Adam's face drained of color. Tara, he gasped. No, I'm sorry, she said, raising her hands. But someone needs to say it. You need to stop inviting yourself to places that clearly aren't in your price range. My jaw clenched, but I still kept my cool. When dessert menus arrived, I declined. I'd lost my appetite. Adam didn't even look. Tara asked for 2 desserts. One to eat here, one to take home. Then the check came, and that's when she exploded. She grabbed the leather bill folder, flipped it open dramatically, and let out a loud, exaggerated gasp. Oh my God, she said, clutching her chest. Oh my God.
Adam froze. İsterdi here.
People at other tables turned. This bill is $800, she shrieked. The server glanced over nervously. Tara, calm down, Adam whispered. We told you the prices before we. This is crazy, she said, loud enough to echo. And she pointed directly at me. He ordered that and can't pay a single dime. My hands tightened around my napkin. Tara, Adam said sharply. He never said. Oh, please, she spat. Look at him. I'm not paying for some pauper's meal. That word sliced through the air. Pauper. She stood up so fast her chair screeched against the floor. Excuse me, she shouted toward the bar. Security. Manager. Somebody. My stomach dropped. Adam put his head in his hands. Tara, you're embarrassing us. No, she said, voice shaking with fury. I'm not letting this man freeload off us. If he won't leave the table, Then someone needs to escort him out. A few diners gasped. One couple stood up. A server rushed toward the back. And in the span of 10 seconds, everything became chaos. She pointed at me with manic authority. "Get this pauper away from my table." Two security staff approached cautiously. Not aggressively, just confused. Because they recognized me. They'd seen me in meetings. They'd heard about the owner. But like everyone else on staff, they were used to me being quietly in the background, never drawing attention. "Ma'am," one guard said gently, "can you explain what the issue is?" Tara jabbed her finger again. "He's sitting at our table pretending he can pay when he clearly can't. We just want a peaceful dinner without charity cases making things awkward." My blood simmered. One security guard looked at me apologetically. "Sir, is everything okay?" Before I could speak, Tara snapped, "Don't talk to him. Just remove him." Adam shot to his feet. "Stop it, Tara." "No!" she screamed. "This man ruins every dinner, every holiday, every moment. He brings nothing. I'm sick of pretending he belongs at our level when he's clearly." But then, the manager approached. A tall man named Derek. He knew exactly who I was. "Tara," I heard Adam whisper toward her. "You have no idea what you're doing." Derek stepped between us calmly. "Ma'am," he said politely, "I'm the general manager. Can you please explain why you're asking us to remove this gentleman?" "Because he's a pauper," she said instantly. "He clearly doesn't belong in a restaurant like this." Derek blinked. Then he turned slowly toward me. "Sir, do you want me to handle this?" I nodded slightly. He faced Tara again. Shoulders straight, voice respectful but firm.
Mom.
"I cannot remove him." "Why not?" she nearly screamed. "Because," Derek said, folding his hands behind his back, "you are speaking to the owner of this restaurant." Tara's face paled so fast I thought she might faint. Her mouth dropped open. Security stepped back. Adam let out a whisper of relief. And the entire room, every single diner, suddenly went quiet. Silence. A thick, heavy silence that swallowed the entire restaurant. Tara stood there, her jaw unhinged, like someone had smacked reality across her face with a cast-iron skillet. The what?" she whispered. "The owner," Derek repeated calmly. "This establishment, and the 3 sister locations in Austin, belong to him." She slowly turned to look at me, her mouth trembling. But she didn't speak. She couldn't. Her brain was rebooting like a frozen laptop. I leaned back in my chair, folded my napkin slowly, and let the moment breathe. Because after an hour of insults, after humiliation, after being called a pauper in front of dozens of people, the truth finally dropped like a cinder block. A couple at the next table whispered, "He owns the place?" One server smirked behind his menu. Security cleared their throats and stepped aside respectfully. "This is a joke," Tara finally stuttered. This isn't he dresses like." "Like what?" I asked quietly. She swallowed hard. "Not like an owner." I shrugged. "Well, that's the thing about wealth, Tara, the real kind. We don't need to announce it." Her eyes darted around, desperate for backup. But nobody looked sympathetic. Not after watching her scream for security like I was some intruder contaminating her luxury experience. Adam sat back in his chair, rubbing his face. "This," he muttered, "is exactly what I was afraid of." He looked at her with heartbreak in his eyes. Not anger, not shock. Heartbreak. "Tara, why do you treat my dad like this?" She shook her head violently. "I didn't know. I didn't." "So if he was poor," Adam cut in, "your behavior would have been justified?" That question hit her like a punch. "Adam, no, that's not. I didn't," she stammered. But she had no answer, because the truth was ugly, and everyone saw it. Derek cleared his throat. "Ma'am," he said, "we can continue your dinner peacefully, or, if you prefer, we can have someone escort you outside. But we will not be removing the owner." The shift in power was instantaneous. Her spine stiffened, her breath hitched, her pride cracked in half. I, I'd like to sit, she said weakly. That's what I thought, Derek said politely. He gave me a small, respectful nod. If you need anything at all, sir, just let me know. Then he walked away. Tara sank back into her chair like it was swallowing her. The confidence, the arrogance, the entitlement, all gone. For the first time since meeting her, she looked small. The dessert she'd ordered sat untouched. Her wine glass stayed frozen in her hand. Her eyes were glued to the table. After nearly 2 minutes of silence, she finally whispered, "Why didn't you tell us you own this place?" I wiped my hands calmly and looked her directly in the eyes. "Because whether or not I have money shouldn't change how you treat me." She winced. "And tonight," I continued, "you treated me with cruelty, disrespect, humiliation. You judged me based on clothes, based on assumptions, based on some twisted belief that your worth comes from your husband's paycheck." Adam sucked in a breath. "Tara," I said, "you don't know who people are. You only know who you think they are." Her lip quivered. For once, she didn't argue. Adam pushed his chair back and stood. "Dad, come on," he said. "Let's go talk outside." I followed him. Tara didn't move. Outside, under the glow of the restaurant's entrance lights, Adam paced back and forth like he was trying to outrun his own thoughts. "I'm so sorry," he said finally. "Dad, I'm so sorry." "It's not your fault," I said softly. "It is," he argued. "I married her. I let this go on too long. I kept thinking it would get better, that she'd grow up, that she'd stop acting like the world owes her whatever fantasy she built in her head." He slumped against the wall. "I love her, but I can't defend this anymore." His voice cracked. "She humiliated you, my own father. And for what? Appearance? Money? Her ego." I rested a hand on his shoulder. "Son," I said gently, "love only survives if respect survives." He swallowed hard, eyes glistening. 2 minutes later, she stepped outside. Her makeup smudged, her arrogance gone, her voice small. "Adam," she whispered, "can we talk?" He didn't answer. She approached me slowly. I'm really sorry," she whispered. "I shouldn't have said those things. I shouldn't have." "You didn't apologize because you're remorseful," I said calmly. "You're apologizing because you found out you insulted someone with money." She flinched. "And that," I added, "is a character problem."
Adam inced.
Not because he disagreed, because he knew it was true. "I want to fix this," she pleaded. "Then start," I said, "by fixing the way you see people who have less than you." She nodded vigorously, but I wasn't finished. "And maybe," I added, "ask yourself why you think you're above anyone at all." She looked down, ashamed. "Dad," Adam said softly, "go home, please. I'll pay for the meal. I'll talk to her." "No," I said. "Dinner's on the house. It always was." He exhaled with relief. I hugged him, whispered, "You deserve peace in your home," and walked to my truck. Tara didn't look at me again. 1 week later, Adam showed up at my door with a duffel bag. I knew before he even spoke. "We're taking a break," he said. "A real one." I nodded. "I need her to understand," he said. "I need her to grow." "And if she doesn't?" I asked. He paused, then shook his head. "Then I can't build a family with someone who disrespects mine." I hugged him tightly. "I'm proud of you," I said. 3 months later, Tara requested a meeting. We met at the same restaurant, at the same table. She arrived dressed casually, no brands, no attitude, just sincerity. "Thank you for agreeing to see me," she said. I nodded. She looked me in the eyes and said, "I went to therapy. I'm working on myself. I realized I tied my value to status because I never felt good enough inside. It was wrong. And I hurt you. And I drove my husband away. I'm not asking you to like me instantly. I just want you to see that I'm trying." For the first time, she seemed real, honest, human, and I respected that. "People can change," I said, "if they choose to." She nodded. "I'm choosing to," she whispered. 6 months later, Adam and Tara were back together. Different this time. More aware. Healthier. She apologized to me again. Genuinely. She treated service workers with kindness. She donated